Scraping data from an Amazon page may look simple until your scripts start breaking after only a few requests. Amazon has a reputation for a solid defense against scrapers, requiring a bit more knowledge to get past it. I'm Montevides from Oxylabs, and in this video, I'll show you a couple of tried and tested ways to reliably scrape Amazon and get fresh product data for any of your e-commerce related needs. So you may be asking, is scraping Amazon legal? In short, collecting product data like prices, titles, and reviews is legal on its own, as these fields are publicly available whenever you visit the website. However, it's important to keep in mind the typical ethical considerations for web scraping, as most larger websites have anti-bot measures in place. Amazon, in specific, is known for being scraper unfriendly, quickly blocking your IP address if you're not careful, as well as having a complex and ever-changing HTML structure. Having that in mind, while there are some no-code tools for scraping Amazon, like Octoparse or Apify, you might hit some walls quite quickly, with no way of adapting when you need it. That's why we'll be going through how to write your own web scraper using Python, Selenium, and Beautiful Soup 4 to have better control for bypassing the many security measures Amazon provides. To start, open up a new VS Code window with a fresh terminal instance. Once you have that, type in these commands into the terminal to create a virtual environment and install the libraries we'll be using. We'll need a browser automation tool like Selenium, since a lot of pages on Amazon have JavaScript rendering and would make regular HTTP request libraries useless in our case. Beautiful Soup will help us parse the HTML easily and efficiently. Next, create a file called main.py and open it up. You've just set up the prerequisites for our web scraper script. However, before we actually start writing any code, let's take a closer look at what Amazon looks like under the hood. Open a category page on Amazon to investigate what the HTML for a list of products looks like on an Amazon page. Here we can take a look at the computers and accessories category specifically. Now, to look at the raw HTML code that is in your browser, right-click on any place on the page and click Inspect. You should see a DevTools console open up. Since I'm using Chrome, it's on the right side of the screen, but it might look a little different on another browser. If we click this little arrow icon and hover over one of the products, we can try to look for clues on what can be used to pinpoint this element within the HTML later on. A thing that sets each search result apart is this data component type attribute with the S search result value. It's exactly what we'll use to get all of the products on the page. We can use a similar technique to find the title, price, and rating within the HTML and note them down as CSS selectors within our script. That's all we need from the website. Time to write the script itself. Let's start our script by importing the libraries we installed. Specifically, we'll be importing Beautiful Soup, as well as a WebDriver and an options object from Selenium. Then, we'll need to define the URL of the page we'll be scraping. We can paste in the same computers and accessories page we visited before. We'll also need to initialize some options before launching the Selenium browser. The first task is to enable the headless mode for the browser. This means that the Selenium browser instance runs in the background, making it both more efficient and easier to run multiple times in a row. We'll also be adding a user agent argument, making our requests to Amazon look more like legitimate requests from a regular browser, instead of an automation tool like Selenium. After that, we can initialize our WebDriver. We'll be using the Chrome driver Selenium provides by default. Let's pass our options in and run the get method, which navigates the browser to the URL we defined. We can then fetch the page source, which is the HTML content, and close the driver instance. That's all there is to it for now. All that's left is to parse the HTML we retrieved from Amazon. Before we can extract the data, let's define the CSS selectors we initially found when inspecting the Amazon page. I'll paste them in like this, but make sure to retrieve them from the HTML as shown before, as Amazon does tend to update its page structure quite often. Next, we can pass the HTML into the Beautiful Soup instance as such to initiate a soup object, which we'll be working with to extract the data from the product items one by one. For that, we can define an empty results list first, then iterate over each item in the soup object like this. We can then use our define selectors to find the items, group them in a dictionary, and append that dictionary to our results list. All that's left now is to store our results somewhere we can access them later. Let's open up a file and store the scraped results in JSON format. We can do that by importing the JSON library and dumping the results like this. Now for the moment of truth. We can try to run our full script now and see if any file appears next to our main.py file. As you can see, a full list of products has been successfully scraped from the Amazon page we provided. Even though all this might look like a small effort so far, you might quickly realize how strict Amazon is with anti-bot policies. You may run your script a few times too often, and your IP address will be banned for some time from making any more requests. While we did implement one of the basic solutions to avoid that, which is the user agent argument, it can only do so much. Another thing you can do is to simply add long enough delays between your requests so it's hard for Amazon to flag you as an outright scraper. But the most sure thing security measure is to employ a proxy. Proxies provide many more layers of defense against anti-bot measures, such as rotating IPs as well as different geolocations, making it super hard to notice a pattern for websites like Amazon in your scraping process. However, if you want all that handled for you, likely the best solution could be the web scraper API provided by Oxylabs, which you can try completely free with the link in the description. It acts as a one-stop shop solution to which you provide a URL or even just the query for Amazon search results you wish to scrape, and it returns pre-parsed results without needing to worry about getting banned. Let's take a look at an example. Start by opening up a new file and call it api.py. We'll also install the request library and import it together with the JSON package. Next, we can define a payload for the request like this. We'll set the source to Amazon_search, the domain to com, parse to true to retrieve pre-parsed results, and the query to laptop as an example. After that, you can perform the actual HTTP request. Just before you do that, make sure to retrieve your web scraper API credentials. You can find them in your Oxylabs dashboard. With those in hand, let's define a post request, the payload as the JSON parameter, as well as the credentials you retrieved for authentication. We'll also add this raise for status line to make sure our request is successful. Once our response comes back, we'll need to parse it a bit and store it in a JSON file as we did before. Let's run the script and see what we get now. As you can see, it's a structured list of real-time results from the Amazon search bar with half as much code or handling from our part and much more details for each product. In this tutorial, we've covered how to scrape Amazon while avoiding the heavy anti-bot measures it has in place. We've written our own scraper from scratch, as well as used an API that handles a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Make sure to keep experimenting and building more useful tools by yourself, as there are numerous ways and smart approaches to web scraping out there. If you like this video, hit that like button, and make sure to check out our channel for more videos like this, or head to our blog for in-depth guides and ready-to-use code examples. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.